you know what we should do? We should start like this from time to time. So like, this is how I live when there's no streams. I'm just like standing by, everything's completely dark, and I just wait for the next stream, This is how it is. Or, things start, working out, and we go like this. Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Thursday Mixdown, episode 15. I think this is 15. They are getting faster than I thought they would go, although they're actually once per week. So I already started. Okay. But here's what we're going to do. I'm actually, you know what? No, stop. Yes. No. Yes? Okay. Yes, we start. You knew it was a dark room. It isn't. It is. It's perfectly fine. It's just that the ISO of the cameras need a nuclear reactor for you to see something normal. I told you, this is something people don't talk. Maybe you know because you know photography a little bit. But, you need nuclear amounts of power to keep something like these at ISOs that are new. So just do what you need to do. I need to close the windows and do other things. So I will just jump out of the chair and do my things, because we are kind of like 5 minutes early, and I wanted to start anyway because kind of the starting soon kind of gives me sort of like PTSD things. But we have HiFAL. It is episode 15 of the Thursday Mixdown. They're coming out weekly, but to me it's kind of feeling faster than it was. So in a couple of minutes we're gonna start. Okay, why am I still talking? And I have no idea if you can hear me if I talk from down here in the room, which I believe you can't really see. Obviously you can't see me. I don't even think you can hear me from there. Maybe you can. Well, now I'm getting closer, but I'm still sort of like behind the camera. I have 4 windows, actually 5, to close. Alright, we're here. We close the curtains as well. Curtains down. Curtains down. Hi. Yo. It's done. Do we have it? Is my hair okay? Is everything good? I don't even know if you can hear me from all the way over there. I don't think the microphone has no gates that I remember of. But it doesn't quite matter. Okay. I'm still thinking. I'm still thinking what? I don't know. How is it? It's Thursday, I think Mondays with Modular Mondays are kind of hard to do. I mean, it's not like Modular Mondays doesn't have it easy, I think, because it's on Mondays. Should it be like Tubular Tuesday, in which we do like just play music for tubular bells, but on Tuesdays? Because Thursday's taken. Or could we do like, let me think about that. Like Philharmonic Fridays, in which we just talk about big band stuff. Or from, let me think about that. Like, Philharmonic Fridays would be kind of cool because it's PH with F. That'd be nice though. Or we could do like, I'm thinking, hold on. It's hard. Hold on. I can't. Brahms Friday. That'd be cool. But it needs, yeah, well, that's true. Because the Modular Mondays have that double M. So if we replace that, we should kind of give like Tubular Tuesdays. Or were actually Tubas Tuesday. Could I not think about that? Tubas Tuesdays is amazing. But the only problem is I don't play the tuba. So I need to get like a friend of mine from over here, from church, and get like, can I borrow you for this for a second? Tubas Tuesday would be good. But the thing is this, if we do anything that is not remotely close to a weekend, people are going to be like, just pressured from, you understand Tubas. Tubas Tuesday. That's also nice. That's also nice, But Tuba Tuesdays will also cool. Tubas Tuesday is also Tubas or Tubas. That's true. They both work. What for Wednesday? We don't know. Like what like where like one there has to be something for Wednesday as well. But like the Thursday Mixdown is kind of like mixed. But like Philharmonic Fridays would be nice. Or like saxophone Saturdays. Like we play something like a very honky, early train kind of jazz where it's like a very nosy nasal alto. That'd be also cool. But anyway, I think like Modular Mondays has it hard because Mondays are kind of like we're working uphill for sure. So I want to become famous. And what I've done is I noticed that Schwabe Digital has released HiFAL. Okay. And it took me like 15 minutes to understand what I should have called it or what I should call it. I think HiFAL is the way it should be. It's got like kind of like a Hindi sound. I think it means height or tall or high on in Hindi. I don't even know. We have nobody to confirm that. Why do I know that though? Wait. I have absolutely no Hindi knowledge. But for some reason, I think there's something about a record or an artist. I have no idea. So it got released, and I wrote a description for this live stream, which I think is pretty funny. And we're going to keep at it. Oh, wait. Marco has it. Marco, did you Google it? Probably. High frequency acceleration limiter. Okay. That's good. What matters is that Ryan put what people call Sontec knobs on the interface. So it's got to be good. There is no way this isn't good. You don't put Sontec knobs on things that are not top level. Absolutely. Okay. So I have the plugin. I downloaded the demo. I have Ryan's newsletter where he explains how to do it. It's just about doing it. But I'm going to take my time to start because people kind of jump in at a little bit of a later time. I think somebody's on Discord. Maybe other people are working or something. I don't know. There's the usual people who are too posh to be on stream. How do the streamers do this? How do people kind of jump on stream and have the chat that goes like this? I understand maybe it's because they play video games, Those knobs looked familiar. The FusiQ also has those. I don't remember because with knobs, there's nothing like Sontec knobs. Knobs are made by companies that are different from I mean, some knobs aren't. Maybe they got purchased or something, but they usually are a different company who have, which has kind of like a provision contract with them. So I think it's either Elma or CFAM. I'm thinking it's Elma that does these Sontec things. Although they're matte on it. The FusiQ here has glossy caps, but I also have matte caps, and I've never put them actually on for a bit of a more modern look. It sounds different with matte knobs, that's for sure. It's got a little bit more of a modern kind of vibe. So I want to take my time because I see people are logging in. I don't want to kind of overdo it. I don't want to rush it. We're not probably going to last an hour and a half on HiFAL. I don't even know. But I can always play video games later on my own, you know. But how do people start streams and have like 1,500 people already there dying to see the stream start, you know? Not that I am by any mean under, you know, mining or kind of like devaluing Marco's being here. Marco, you know, I appreciate that as, you know, like a brother, which I don't have. I'm a lone child, hence all the issues I have in my family. But, you know, absolutely. But I'm just saying, like, what, like, you know, I don't know. So, you know, yeah. I can't even switch camera now because we're just talking. James is here. Hi, James. Welcome. I started early. I did housekeeping here. Kept the camera pointing at the room without me in frame because it's kind of laid back. It helps, you know, become famous and stuff because you're still laid back. But, you know, I don't know. Nothing works. So worry not. There's no problem, you know. So we're gonna do HiFAL today, as explained by the stream title, which I hope updated itself, you know. So I'm probably gonna go and just stretch. Probably gonna go and take a couple minutes. Actually, it looks, you know, the part you cannot see is actually pretty tied up. I'm not gonna touch it. I'm looking far behind in areas that I know are pure chaos all the time. But this is happening, so that's good. You know, I'm gonna wait another 5 minutes just to, I don't know, bother you probably. Because as I said, I see that my second 1,000 of followers and the half of the bots that get in streams usually need like 5 to 10 minutes to kind of like feel the warmth of the stream. So that's how I'm gonna do it. And I'm actually gonna go and check if my restroom window is still open from today, because that could mean I could freeze. Okay, so I'm gonna leave you here. If anything happens, you know, don't put drinks on the desk. Okay. So, you know, and Marco says, maybe nicht el gardo. Wait at the door. I had the hand today there. I heard the pecking. So it is serious. It's a serious situation with the animals here. These people. Okay, gonna be right back. Don't touch anything. If you do, make sure it sounds good. Ciao. Yep. Window was closed. I'm back. Patch Bay Mayhem. What is it? Hey Marco, let's message to the app while he's gone. I could kidnap the DW. Aren't you happy that like you can't really see the whole room, but the DW is always there? and it's got like Christmas lights on it, and it's got a Nerf gun pointed at the actual logo and model number, which probably means something that psychologically I haven't processed. Or Patch Bay Mayhem. That would actually be really, really bad. Not that I'm kind of recent on the recent changes. I kind of know my way around it. But that would be fairly bad if the patch bay was, like completely destroyed. So, HiFAL, which, as I said, means high frequency acceleration limiter. I just saw it. Okay? And I think what we really need is we need this here, right? Here. Boom. Okay, so we're in Ableton Live because I'm lazy. And in this video, we're going to talk about what everybody was talking about at the gym, okay? And at first, I was kind of like, trying to ignore them because the music was already bad. But then after a while, I was like, wow, everybody's talking about them. They were looking at themselves in the mirror and then were like, HiFAL, HiFAL, HiFAL. Tomorrow it's going to release this and that. And I was like, wow, this got to be fairly serious. So as I wrote in the description, it did raise a trimmed eyebrow to kind of go and say like, well, yeah, this probably good. Now, the brand making this, I know, it's Schwabe Digital. So Ryan has done stuff that I still use every day. And I got some pretty mean messages lately from people that said like the orange clip and gold clip are completely broken and I'm a joke for like using them and telling people to use them, which I don't remember telling people to actually use anything specifically, but maybe the message they got across was that one, right? I absolutely like what Ryan's done. I use gold clip and orange clip a lot. Right, quantity over quality, I use orange clip more than gold clip just because I use one instance of gold clip. But, I don't use gold clip track as much, but I like what he's done. Ryan's been extremely kind to me. I think he's a cool dude. He does a lot of memes on Instagram. Like he stepped it up a couple notches before HiFAL came out. And then it came out, okay? And he also shot me. I'll pretend he just wrote me. He didn't. It's a newsletter, okay? In this newsletter, he explains how you could kind of get the most out of your 30 days, okay? Trial, which I started. I didn't get anything for free. This is a 30-day demo license, okay? Right there. So he's telling us what to do. I might refer on it, although I gotta be honest with you, I kind of have an idea of what I would do. And but I am in no mean as good as Ryan is because he made the plugin, okay? So that's what it has to be. So what we're gonna do is I have a blank session. I am definitely gonna start up the sound system in here. And I am also, let's prepare these so that we have proper stuff, okay? We're gonna cut these, people don't care. Everybody is extremely toxic because he's gonna talk so much. This is gonna be so horrible, Yeah, it's a shame. Just change, switch channel. What's the problem? Or can't you use TV? Have you learned that from TV? So I don't know if I'm gonna do raw and HiFAL. Probably yes, just because. So I'm like very color conscious lately. So I'm gonna do this. Now, yes. So we ditch it. We go HiFAL, but we also create an audio track. We call this mix. Okay. Don't go anywhere. We send these two tracks to mix. And this theoretically could be interesting because that is how I would set these for testing stuff in Ableton Live, okay? The scenes we're not gonna use, so we're gonna ditch all of them just because. And we're gonna give these a name. Did I save over it? So let's just do something, like HiFAL stream, TTM 15. Can I type? I can. Okay, we did it. So we just tab it, and then we have raw, HiFAL, and we have mix, okay? And on mix, I'm probably gonna put, I actually have to put Sonobus, because that's gonna stream to you, which I remember we talked about this. It is free. It's connecting via LAN. I don't know if you know this. Let's put my password, getting doxxed. Oh gosh. Okay, wait. Why? Did I change the password? Nope. Hold on. Man. Then I wonder why I'm not famous on streams. I don't have it. That's easy. I don't have that. All right? We're there. Hold on, though. Monitor 0. Okay, I don't want to monitor that. This guy. There. You know, I'm gonna go with my mouse because I'm kind of feeling comfortable that this could happen. Hold on. But did it? No. Yes. Yes. Does it work now? I'm there. I'm thinking we could have audio now. Thinking. Let me see if this works. Right. Okay. Good. Did we do it? Did I do it? I'm feeling confident this could work. But I cannot get over there. Okay. Hold on. This needs to work. What is going on here? I told you the stream's kind of, we started early. No worries. But if you have doubts on why somebody's famous, other people are not, it's because I don't have it. It's not going to happen. You see, nothing works, and then it works. I'm taking these like it's a joke or something. Like, this is serious stuff. You should have seen the people at the gym, how serious they were. Imaginary. I have, like, why is this happening? Hold on. I'm thinking this should happen. Is this connecting? It is. Right? Is this working? Do we try that? No. Okay. Can I now? I'm having an issue with, I have no idea what. Hold on. Oh, maybe I know. Maybe I know. Hold on. Is it working now? Yes. It is. I think we're back. Okay. We try that. Boom. Let's change that. Just not to get doxxed. So we're back here, and we have our Sonobus installed. I think you should be able to monitor stuff now. Let me bring in a track that I kinda know. Okay, let me see if I remember where it is. Oh, I can't show you track names here because there's stuff from a new record. Man, I'm secretive today. Here we go. Anti-doxing mode engaged. Hold on. I really cannot show you just because I know where this is, but it's not what you're thinking. It's actually, you know, yes, it's here. Man, all right. I specifically want this song. You'll appreciate what I'm doing actually here. I guarantee you. Okay, we're back. So I dragged the song in here. It's Regulator. Can you recall? Do you recall when I used Regulator? So I mean the song name is okay if you know, but you can't know where this is gonna go to. Because, now these colors are kind of giving me PTSD again. Go here. Much better. Man, is this better or what? Yo, perfect. There's something weird about this. Something kind of like... Something weird. Hold on, let me go purple. All right, we're good. So, here it is. We've got Regulator 2 times, okay? And we're going to HiFAL the second one. But we're going to keep the first one as reference. Now, let me listen to this, making sure this is what we know it should be, okay? Now, I'm going to play this. And for some reason, I don't hear it. Why? Because this is going here. This is going here. I think maybe this is the mono stuff. Let me do a send return of this, just for safety. Let me do a return here. Let me put this guy over here, and let me put this because this is our main channel. So this is also gonna go to send A. Okay, that is not sending to anything. It should maybe work. Oh yes. So this is going, but do you hear this for some reason? Let me see if you do, because it would be nice if you can hear this, and then we'll be kind of ready. So I know for sure you can't hear it. So, but because why do I say that? Because I can see that you don't see that, but this should actually work. Hold on, can I put it here and disable this? Aha. And you don't even hear it here. This is a weirdness. Oh, I see why. Hold on. Connect here. We're getting doxed like nothing else. I'm gonna do it. Why is this not? This is working. Yes. We have it. We're green. Okay, green means go. So this return track can go. You want me to do a recap of all this? I'll do it because I'm kind. Okay. Did you grab a drink? We're kind of ready. All right. So this was not gonna take an hour and a half. We know that. So we have two tracks that are identical. The blue track is the raw, and we're gonna use it to keep it as a reference for what we have. We're gonna loudness match. This is what we're gonna do. On the second track, we've got HiFAL. Do we have it? No, but we have it because what we have is the demo license of HiFAL. As I said before, these just came out and everybody's been talking about it, and now we're gonna talk about it here as well. Now, this is a high frequency limiter and a parallel high frequency compressor. Now, if you're saying like, no, this is not how you say that. Okay, maybe this is not exactly flattering, but if I had to like tell it to you, explain to you in 3 seconds, I would say it is a high frequency compressor or limiter, and it's a high frequency parallel injector. Okay, so some people are gonna say, is it like the Mazalek MDS2? And I'm gonna say like, yeah. And other people are gonna go like, no, it's completely different. I know this is not a Mazalek MDS2. This is, if I can read, Schwabe Digital's HiFAL. Okay, even if it said Mazalek MDS2, it would not be the Mazalek MDS2 because guess what? This is in software. The other one's hardware. But the idea is that you've got songs that are too bright. You're laughing because people are like, what is too bright? It's never bright enough, okay? But in the old days, what you would have is you would try and get your high frequencies to be clean and detailed, but you didn't have the hi-fi technologies that you have today, okay? So in the vinyl era, what happened was if you kept your highs very open and hi-fi as much as you could, you would have very fast, spiky, open transients on high frequencies. And this would be trouble for the vinyl playhead to read, and even for, the vinyl to be printed actually. So for recording on vinyl and playing things back, it would be problematic. So, you had tubes, you had tape compression and stuff. When things started to become a little bit more hi-fi and people started to open those highs, we no longer have those issues these days because we have digital. But in the old days, they wanted to get the highs to breathe and not feel like you had a sort of a low pass filter on it, right? So they would open them, keep them more pronounced, less compressed. Tape was getting better. Then you would end up on vinyl. It would be too much for vinyl. So one thing you would do would be to control those highs. Not because it was too bright, it was too bright for the medium, okay? And that's why high frequency limiters and compressors like the Mazalek came out, okay? Brief history. Now today, I don't like, there's nobody I know that believes that things aren't too bright, unfortunately. And there's a lot of people who receive mixes who are too bright. So that's the tool for this, okay? But normally, modern productions tend to push a lot. But now also we have small speakers, so we don't have low frequencies any longer because of my phones and headphones and stuff. And so things sound harsh, okay? So you want to get that high quality. And then on top of that, Ryan doesn't care. He just wanted to make a tool for music to sound better in good old better terms. And I agree with him, if he wants to do that. Why couldn't he? That's here. But that's essentially the problem, okay? Now, in my opinion, the reason why I would be interested in this, I don't care. Maybe yours is different. You have different reasons. But I am interested in using this to actually push the highs in terms of perceived detail in my mixes. Okay? Why? Because modern productions in the style of music I do are very dark, but still airy and detailed. So this could kind of liven up stuff in my realm of music. Okay? So let's talk about what this does and how it looks, okay? I'll go over the interface because when we start touching things, then we know where we are, okay? So we have the logo, of course, and we've got the presets, of course. We've got AB, we've got external, I think sidechain. We got, the possibility of switching AB. We have a global bypass and the name of the plugin. And then we have two sections. Easy. It's very easy. Look what I'm doing. I'm turning off these two sections by using the power buttons, okay? So the left section is the main high frequency limiter, accelerated, whatever. I know you know the terminology. And the right part is the parallel limiter, which is still high frequency related. This is not an 1176 put there, a pair of them put there to just crank things up, okay? This is high frequency parallel injection, okay? So it's still within the realm of high frequencies, but they are two different sections, okay? And another thing that I want to show you just right now so that you know what we're talking about is that these two sections have a bandwidth selector for each of the sections, okay? So you see why there are these two vertical lines, two pairs, and then there's the solo buttons. These are made so that you can select the area of operation of your high frequency limiter and of the parallel injector. So one is a low boundary that can go down to 10 hertz, and one is a high boundary that can actually switch to off. And we can solo these so that we can kind of audition where they're going, right? 10 hertz off, easy. So if we wanted to kind of stay where the Mazalek works, I think we should stay at around 2.6, 2.7, 2.5. I'm gonna go 2.6, something like that. In my studies and what I've seen in Leaf Moses manuals, I think I seem to remember it's kind of like a 2.6 thing. Okay, so how does this work? Well, you can link the channels and you can work in mid-side or left-right mode. Okay, so we got plugins that do this. We're fine. We're all good. Okay, we lower the threshold of the high frequency limiter and we're gonna hit against such threshold and we're gonna see the amount of reduction on the center part. You see here 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Okay, if we want to really just audition the change, we use the little headphones there. Okay, that is gonna give you an idea of the delta between the original signal and the processed one. And I think Ryan made a very good point in the manual to say, do not overthink this. Do not use this to monitor what's happening. It's useful, but this should not be how you look at the big picture, because you cannot look at the big picture that way. Good. So we've got the left, right. We can unlink the left and right thresholds if we want. If we unlink the thresholds, the channel link, I think it's going to be disabled. Okay, it's going to be 0% by definition. Maybe. but it doesn't change so far. So I think I read in the manual that it will switch to 0% if you unlink the channels. But channel linking, as we said, is the amount of linking of the detectors, like in any compressor. If we go 0%, left and right are completely independent. If we go 100%, the average is going to be clamping down. If the right channel has the hi-hat that is too bright, it's going to limit the high frequencies in the left channel anyway, okay? The meters are going to show us the high frequency content of our selected range, okay? These meters are not full-scale meters. Why am I saying limiters now? The meters are only displaying the level of the selected bandwidth. This is important because this is going to allow us to set our threshold points, okay? Then, very easy, we have a fast and slow attack, fast and slow release behavior. This is, as you would expect. We can trim the level, and then finally we can add the parallel injector, and we can kind of bring it up and down. What is, I'm kind of looking at it, I'm like, the parallel limiter is going to determine how much we're pushing things, I'm thinking, and this is going to be how much of this we want to inject into it, okay? So this will make it more aggressive, but this will determine the level at which it will sit. We'll see, okay? We're trying this. I haven't tried that. I read the newsletter and stuff like that, but then there's oversampling, and then there's linear phase or minimum phase. And I'm going to just throw it to you right here. I am not going to use linear phase for starters. And I know there's 3,244 people connected right now. They're just not writing, and I'm joking, of course. And I'm going to drop to about 2. But I'm going to use minimum phase. Why? Because my ears are tuned when I use these devices to minimum phase. Whatever. Do I use these things? Yes. Do I use HiFAL? No, it just came out. We can't do it. So we can solo these. We can meter closer to 0.12 or down because the high frequencies might not be really up there. So Ryan thought it out. This is really nice. We're not going to use any low pass for now. We're just going to stay full bandwidth, but we are going to keep our low end of the spectrum to 2.6, which I believe is going to be kind of Maslach-y, okay? So first and foremost, let me pick a spot, okay? I want to get, this is Regulator, is a track I wrote some time ago, and I think it ended up in a couple videos. So and it was an option, so I think I'm not gonna get sued for it because it's still a song I own technically. But I think this is a fairly dark track, but maybe I'm wrong. I just thought this is the track I want to use. So let's listen to it. Let's find a spot. I'm gonna take it from here. Right, okay? So obviously I can't hear anything right now. The reason for this is that, I know you could, but the reason for this is that this is not sending me. Let me try that. Right, awesome. This is not monitoring this, okay? So now I have it. So I want to start here. Okay, I stop it here because it just closed down. Now I remember this says from solid mix one reprint no mix bus. So I know this track hasn't had. I can hear it. Oh, I mean this is now what, maybe half an year. So there's a couple things I would like to move in automation. Then I looked at the name and it says no mix bus. So there's no mix bus in this print, which is why it sounds good, in my opinion. Please do laugh in chat right now. This was good. I'm not going to continue the stream if you don't laugh in chat. Honestly, this was good though. And this is kind of true. The dynamic, how am I not writing music for why isn't it happening? What is it? This is beautiful. Marco's laughing there. All right, I made you laugh. That's good. So, okay. So this track has no automation. This is a reprint that I do for safety because I always fear my things are gonna explode and then I'm left with no song. And I know for sure I wrote this in about 5 days to a week, okay? Which is a lot, okay? It means like I don't exist for 5 days. It's a lot, you know? So it's quick, but it's not that quick. Now there's a lot of things that I wanna use these on. The first part has that high frequency situation that I kind of like, but could be tamed. The second part, the bigger part, has kind of a lower edge. The kicks are very heartfelt. I like that, but I kind of want to add detail. You know, it could be more. And then in the end, there's the strings, which could be more rusty, could be a little bit more there, right? So I think without using the first initial part, which is kind of like thematic, you know, it's kind of an ambient and then it gets into cutscene stuff. Why didn't they option this piece of music? Like, honestly, why could not I pay rent with this 1 month? I'm not asking that much, but it didn't happen. So what you're hearing here is please do not write music like this because they're not going to buy it, okay? This is not the droids they're looking for, all right? Just so you know. But there's good content, you know. So now, let me go to HiFAL and let me try things out. Let's play with this and let's just have fun. Although Ryan gave us some steps. Load the default preset. Oh no, we already changed it. Play a moderately loud section of your song. Right-click the crossover flag at the top of the plugin to solo the processing band, and then set the range you want to control. Adjust the threshold until the first 0 dB bulb pulses lightly, adding subtle compression on the highs. Dial in acceleration timing, slow versus adaptive, fast attack and release, to shape how the limiter reacts. Adjust channel linking to see how... Okay, I already forgot what I have to do. Balance the overall tone with the trim knob. If the mix feels dark, add top end. If it's too bright, pull the highs back. Okay, the trim is gonna be asymmetrical, okay? So it's gonna help us recover. It's a recovery, okay? Blend in the parallel limiter to add control of the brightness. I got it. I don't need to read the manual. I got it. Let's do it. I wanna start minimum phase. I want to do 4 times oversampling just for starters, but minimum phase, and a slow attack fast release, no solos, channel linking 100%. We drop it down while it's going. We keep 2.6. We trim accordingly, and then we see if we want to add these. But let's concentrate on the left part first. Okay. Okay. I'm thinking. Okay. Let's convene and just come back tomorrow. So, did you see what happened when I had it set at 0 on the quieter part? The meters for the gain reduction just went boom, completely down because there's a high frequency hit that was completely tamed. So I wasn't quite happy with with slow fast. I think fast slows fits the soundtrack kind of thing a little bit more. And 100% channel link wasn't really working. I'm now kind of hearing it float. I'm gonna restart this and just gonna bypass it. I'm not gonna move the crossovers because I think it's fine. Am I looking for more high frequency injection now? Well, no. How would you work with the MDS2, for example? The people I've seen using the MDS2 with, they're constantly having 0 dBs lighting up. Only sometimes there's like a 0 or a 1 very fast. They're not constantly having the de-esser, the high frequency limiter pushing. So I'm going to try and do the same. And I'm very curious about mid-side with us kind of getting the two thresholds to kind of get different. Let's try that. Okay, this part. Man, I picked a great song. I picked a great song and I picked a great example. I cannot fathom how this was not picked. Also, I know the cutscene that we're using it on, and it was just, man, it was great. I am unappreciated. But I have the strength to continue doing this. Failing feels so good, people. Once you get used to it, it's just like, how can you be on a Friday and not look back at your week and say like, did I fail this week? Yes. Okay. Let's get into the weekend. You know, and it's about orienteering yourself. So take a look at where the LEDs pop up, okay? You saw it, right? I got that sting and it got captured. Now, how about we listen to it without? Okay? Oh, hey, Mars. Welcome to the stream. Welcome. We're testing HiFAL because everybody at the gym was talking about that. I do not go to the gym. But I heard that they were talking about it. So let's listen to this sting once again without this, and then I'm gonna turn the settings I have on HiFAL on, okay? There's this very bright sting. Also, listen to where it's happening, if it feels wide to you or if it feels centered and narrow, okay? Like a sharp centered thing. Okay? It's kind of an anvil sound, right? That's how a lot of people call them, okay? Now with. Okay, without. With. Okay, so let's talk about what I hear technically, okay? Now, I can tell you this sounds good. This plugin's doing what it should do. It's taking that registry. We're going 2.6 kilohertz to oblivion, to like Nyquist, and it's really just getting it done, and it's disappearing, you know? So also in doing that, Mars says it is more present, right? I think that when it's processed, it's less centered. It's less kind of like placed in the middle. Now that I have a choice between the two, it has more presence, right? It's kind of like brought into the context. It's a little bit more in, it feels more three-dimensional just because it's not getting masked in that 10 milliseconds of time. The sound is not getting to my ears in the center, so I am more appreciative of the boom thing, of the soundscape. But I still compensated 0.4, so I still get that. It's just kind of like being rebuilt. I like that. Let's start from the beginning, see where it happens. Then we go to the strings at the end. Okay, so it is really unobtrusive. We're not using parallel limiter yet. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to copy A to B. Let's see, I have no knowledge over shortcuts. Okay, but I've done it because I know gold clip. Okay, so I want to use B to do something more. I want to get to, you hear those glitches, the bit crashed glitches at the sides. I want to get the thresholds to just be lighting up on the 0. As I told you, I don't know how these should be used, but the real de-essers like the Mazalex, when I've never really had a unit like that for months to train on, but I've seen people use it like a lot. In a couple studios they had it. It was never going over constant 1, even 1. It was ever occasionally just lighting up. But let's go there. Let's lower the threshold so we got the beats just to get mangled a little bit. Okay, so obviously now, because we dropped the ceiling like right there, we got minus 33 against what, minus 24. When the hit comes, the sting, the anvil kicks, we're dropping there. Does it sound processed and horrible? Honestly, no. This sounds really good. We're asking to lift a ton of highs right there, very fast. So I think it's a good plugin. I like Ryan. What can I do? But honestly, like, does it sound like an MP3 to you when it's just crunching those lows? It is good, right? I think it's good. I'm getting no money at all. I should probably start to, but honestly, like, it sounds good. Okay, this could be the new MDS2 in the box somehow. Okay, so it's too much. I wouldn't use it that way, but it's really curating that. And it sounds like a theater. Mars, thank you very much. I didn't pay Mars for saying this, but I did say that whoever didn't option this track, who's a friend of mine, kind of is at a loss. How could they not get these for the soundtrack that we're looking for? That's why I'm poor, But as I said, what are you going to do, right? Now, let's go over 24 again, and let's go at the end where I wrote the strings. I think it's even getting that, I don't want to say it, it's cinematic. It's making it more cinematic. Remember, this is a print that has no mix bus. This is a print I've done of my track without the mix bus, okay? So transients are going, there's no automation to tame stuff. I use very little compression on the tracks. So, man, look at the dynamics from the beginning to the part. Should we play them side by side? Let's try. Like a couple glimpses here, and then we go here, okay? We start like here, and then here. Okay, okay? Dynamic range. Now, let's go to 24, and let's try the strings here, without and with. Mars just wrote what I was it makes it more present and immerses you into the audio. It kind of has that because our ears are getting more sugar, right? More salt. They're getting more high frequencies into our ears, but they're controlled. So it's kind of like, you You've never heard of this plugin because it came out 2 days ago. And it probably are not, you don't go to the gym, right? Because they were talking all about that. I should stop making these jokes because YouTube's gonna ban. I mean, I'm gonna get a cease and desist in like 2 days. So enjoy while it lasts, people. It was good being here. Episode 15. Ciao. So I like the strings better. I listen to a lot of soundtrack music here, and I can tell you this is good. These I could use. It came out probably 2 days ago, Mars. Yeah. So I like this. Now let's work on it. Let's first right click while it's going so that we can fine tune. We can kind of get our ears to know what we're doing, and then I'm gonna hit the delta, okay? So we hear what it's applying things to. And I'm gonna start from kind of like the center part, just so that we know. Right click in the middle, it's gonna monitor that part, and then we go to the delta, okay? So just so we get tuned. Hear what's going on here. This is exactly what I was talking about. If you heard me at the kind of like beginning of the stream, I said, I am not going to use these to tame the high frequencies. I'm going to use these to enhance the high frequencies of my music, because I have moments in which I'm falling ever so slightly short of brightness, and a low volume, especially for soundtracks and underscoring, when you're floating, you know, there's dialogue on it, you still want to have a little bit of that sparkle. You don't want to fall short of it, but you don't want to be overly intensive there. Although you're going to get remastered when they bring your music into the context of a production. You're not going to deal with that because you don't have control over the movie, the short film, the video game and stuff. But it's good to be under control, because if you have an audience that is also very headphone compliant, like most of them use headsets like in video games, you want to be able to kind of nudge it so that it's appealing, but it's not too much, but it's not dark. And I'm going to add this. A lot of the modern headsets are actually on the darker heavy bass side and not too bright, believe it or not. Okay. So if you're dark, you're too dark. Okay. You want to be on the brighter side. I think this is really pushing the concept of what I said. That last part, we're going to do without and with. Hear how the highs are presented a little bit more nicely. It sounds like a mix bus process, which again, this print does not have mix bus. So we're using this as a mix bus processor. It's just movie. It's just like, I hear that. It's just a triple A-ish, okay? I want that triple A thing. I want to feel official. I want that producers are like, wow, this sounds like somebody who gets paid for it, but we're not going to pay him. This is amazing. I want that kind of reaction, you know? This kind of gives it to me. I'm kind of happy. What is the plugin doing exactly, says Mars? Is it doing transformer emulation with the multi-stage filter? Okay, this is called high frequency acceleration limiting, okay? But I'm gonna bring it to you. I don't wanna diminish the value of all these. I'm just gonna be straight to the point, because that's how I started the stream with. This is a high frequency limiter and compensator plus a high frequency parallel compressor injector, okay? So you set your area of operation, which to me is 2.6 to infinite, but you can tailor that. You can choose the part. 2.6 is where the Mazalek MDS2 kind of had its slope. I think it's 2.7. I don't remember, but I think it's kind of there. And so it's taking, there's a crossover point, I think. It's taking the highs, it's compressing them, and it's keeping the lows out of this process, and it's rebuilding the thing. I'm using it in minimum phase because the hardware obviously is minimum phase, but there's linear phase as well. So it's entirely on me if you're not hearing it in linear phase, because I am not working in linear phases. I want to hear it in linear phase, and I said people are going to hate me for doing that. It's similar to the SSL-HF comp, says Mars, but it has parallel functions. Yes. This is not the only one, although it's got its own unique things behind the hood, which we cannot see. We can only choose fast and slow attacks and releases. There's not a lot of controls, but it's taking the spectrum, it's taking the part you want it to work on, it's compressing the highs, and it's putting them into the context of it. So it's a high frequency compressor or limiter, depends, I mean, it's called limiter, but obviously it's a dynamic processor. It's high frequency dynamic control plus high frequency compression, parallel compression injection, which we're going to use right now. Actually, no, I'm going to go in mid side because I think things are going to get more interesting. And I'm going to switch from left to right to mid side. Then I'm going to unlink the left and the mid and side. And I am going to go channel link 0. Let's do it like this. 24. Okay. Channel linking 0. I'm going to unlink mid side. Let's keep this the way it was. And I'm going to compress the side high frequency content differently from the high. Okay. And it's doing that, says Mars, across the stereo spectrum. Yes. It's rebuilding it together so that even when I put the audition mode, you kind of hear what it's doing in terms of where's the difference. But it's not injecting that part. We're just hearing the difference in that context of what is different between the null of the original and the processed. Okay, so yes, you can actually use these on a lead vocal part if you want to use. You just narrow it to where maybe the vocal has upper head and just forehead or whatever, and you just kind of bring it in, and it makes it brighter in a beautiful way. The power of these processors isn't for vinyl today as much as it was before, because we're not mastering for vinyl. We're not worried about things being too dark or too bright, especially too bright. People are pushing brightness all along. So mastering engineers definitely want to tame these when they get productions that are too bright. But I think this has more to do with the perception of detail. It's kind of an exciter to me. It's a high frequency harmonic exciter, but it isn't, okay? And in making it more detailed and more coherent, like a multi-band, 2-band compressor, it is giving me that perception of detail. But what this is doing that, for example, a multi-band compressor isn't, is I hear it doing things to the stereo field, because that sudden fast movement is giving me a way to perceive the depth of the soundstage better. I am not making this up. You heard it. It's just getting you the IMAX thing, right? It does that. It is a little bit more. And the plugin, and Ryan at Schwabe Digital doesn't say it's the cleanest thing. It's just taking care of limiting your highs. It is known to say that it is, an enhancer of sort, okay, through its proprietary thing. So let's re-listen to it. I'm gonna go mid side, and then I'm gonna unlink, as I said, the mid and side, and we're gonna do different types of limiting for mids and side. I'm curious as to what's gonna happen. Let's try that. Okay, so this is just a test. I'm pushing it. It's keeping its pace. It's just not flinching. But this is wrong. I would never do that. But we're taking the mid channel and we're constantly asking it to could stay down. The kicks have been deprived of their impact. Now it's just a heartbeat, which these kicks without the mix bus are already too heartfelt to me. They're too low, but I kind of like how dark they are. But if they lose their little bit of edge they have, then it's just body without, clink. So Mars says it feels like it's giving the upper bands of frequencies power without tilting the EQ curve. Exactly, because it's a dynamic, it's a time domain thing, and then it's trimmed up. The trim is not for the whole thing, it's just for that part that is compressing. It's like compensation for gain reduction. So let's try that with the side content. I hate it this way. Obviously, I would never do it. You hear how boring it becomes? You lose the cinema effect, all of my effects, all of the side content I've tuned through the pedals, the reverbs, the plugins, the things. It's going away because we're kind of clinching on that 2.6 kilohertz to Nyquist. On the side, we're constantly keeping it down. I could trim it for sure and bring it back up, but okay, well, we could do that, but what I want to do is I want to try and keep it like a little bit more to the side being compressed, and I want to trim up more, okay? But not like this. This is too much. Let's try and do this in kind of like the heavier part. Okay, I like this. I gotta give it to you that it's still behaving like technically it is not crunching, it is not feeling weird. To me, it sounds pretty good. Really good, actually. Not pretty good, really good. But this is a good move, but it's erring on the cheap side, okay? But I gotta give it to you. This is just, it's sugar, it's salt. It's just, giving me like, oh, yes, it's a kind of a sugar rush thing. The side content where the details are is just getting broadcasted more, and the mid side is just being, pushed in context without being retained. But I think it's a little bit cheap, a trick to do. However, it sounds much classier than other solutions that I have kind of tried and not won. Definitely if you take a 10 kilohertz shelf and bump it up, that's the worst you can do. Like that is gonna get boring in 2 seconds, okay? So this one's kind of classy, it's kind of, there. Mars says it's always important to maintain some dynamic information in the audio while making it immersive. Absolutely. And it's amazing that you can change the stereo field so much in a few knobs and buttons. It is really a stereo field generator, right? Which was what I was thinking it would have been useful to me. And I was hoping it would kind of give me that rather than high frequency control. Okay, well, high frequency control. I am a composer. We were saying on Discord today, this morning, or yesterday, I don't remember. If James is here, if Marco, they're here, they can confirm. We were talking about these and the Fusion HF because Martin said, I'm going to compare the two. And we said they're not really comparable. Although what James said, which, I don't want to take credit, but I agree with him. He said, we are composers the most. In here, we're producers, not really mastering engineer. In my Discord, in my Patreon, there are mastering engineers. There's a couple mastering engineers. They're not very active on Discord, but the majority are producers. So having all of the tracks allows us to take one track and say, oh, the hi-hat's too bright, let's dampen it down. We don't really need these as a mastering solution. And I agree with that because we have so many points in which we can intervene. But this is now beyond high frequency thing. It's about excitement a little bit more. And I'm thinking that something like this, I'm still in my head while I'm talking to you, I'm thinking, is this before gold clip or is this after gold clip? And the way I use gold clip that is like ever so slightly sometimes happening, I'm thinking this is after gold clip. And it's going to completely hide the clipping effect and kind of give things a little bit more exciting. Thinking, I don't know. It's just supposing, okay? So I like these. Again, it's extreme. I don't want to do it. But man, the strings got really good. Man, the strings. So let's keep these where it is. I kind of like that you can set an offset. Look what Ryan did here. I think he did it on purpose. I think. So you set an offset, you relink. The two, thresholds they don't realign. Thank you so much, Ryan, for doing this. Because once you set an offset, you're going to carry and drag that offset around. I think this is very important. You say, I want a 1 dB change between the mid and the side, and I want this change to be carried around because I don't want to compress that as much as that. A lot of the plugins, you link them, they take the left value and they instantly blend the two links to the same value. While here it doesn't happen, and I think this is actually one of the most amazing features. If you see anybody say this on YouTube, know that I don't know if I said it first, but let's copyright this right off the bat. But this is important because we say, okay, I want these at -24. I want these at -25 because I'm thinking the highs are maybe more to get, limited in the side content so that then I can kind of push them back. The reason why I'm lowering the threshold on the side isn't to tame them, is to bring them up later on even more because they're going to stay consistent. And it never gives up, okay? So you can relink this. Now the channel linking has a function, which I think kind of around 60 was kind of fun. And you can still carry these around. So we're going to redo it. But now I'm going to turn on the parallel limiter. Oh, this is the manual. I don't want that. We're going to turn these on. We're going to decide how much we want after we bring it in. I'm going to keep for now the same area of operation so that the parallel limiter works where the high frequency limiter is doing its thing. So the injector has the same area, but just so you know, you can decide to inject a parallel high frequency crunched area that is completely different from the other one. For example, I'm kind of thinking the 3 kHz range. Oh, we got so much to do. I got ideas. Okay, let's do these first. It's a cool track, by the way. Thank you, Mars. I took these because I thought it would be fitting because it's actually stuff. It's called Regulator, and it's a sketch I wrote for. It's actually started from a sketch that I wrote for a soundtrack that I was actually pitching in to become the composer of it, and it wasn't picked. So reminds me of something Trent Reznor would do. Wow, okay, thank you very much. Now we're building the compliments. But it was not selected. It's not even selection. It's like, it was a friend of a friend, and they were working through a game that actually is still actively being developed. And I think they haven't quite dialed things in, so there might be a chance. But just so you know, don't write music like this, because it's not gonna work. It's not gonna get you rich or anything. But I think it's a real. I know what they wanted it for, and I'm like, man, this would have been perfect. I still believe it would have been perfect. But it's a no mix bus thing, so there's not even. Just make sure you don't write music like this, because it's not that I don't want to get copied. It's just that it's gonna be very bad advice for me. So imagine people who study composing with me. I still got a couple people. I haven't got many building up in the years. Some people come, then stay a while and go and stuff. But I have ruined so many people in my life. Is this some kind of master plan I have? We don't know. I'm not allowed to say that stuff on YouTube. If it were a master plan, you wouldn't know. So it isn't a master plan. So I like how this is working. Now, the parallel limiter is the cheap part of it, okay? It's kind of like not the one trick pony part, but it's like, we gotta get, we had a fancy meal. I'm still hungry. Okay, let's grab, I don't know, a sneaker bar, I was expecting this, and I'm kind of okay with it. In my style of stuff that I'm doing, I'm thinking, and I'm still hearing, this is not on a mix bus thing. This I wouldn't do. Marco says, music that sounds like a broken sound card. That's the way. That's it. We said this, dear crew of mine, Marco, Mars, James, I think is here, all the people that have been on stream. Crew, we said this live on stream. Music for broken sound cards. This should be like my next record should have that as a subtitle. I have it planned, so it's really not, it's fitting in the style, but it's not fitting that. If we write that, it's gonna completely ruin the atmosphere that I'm planning. But man, music for broken sound cards. We're doing that. Oh gosh. So, okay, this is good. But we said that on stream, music that we made that, we paid in that, we trademark it. Nobody can do music for broken sound cards any longer. It would be awesome in a 5.1 field mix, absolutely. Like this was for a video game, which, as I said, is still actively developed. I think it changed hands, a couple of 3D artists and stuff, but it's still being developed. You can't really do a 5.1 in the game itself because you know how it works. You don't want to get distracted by your sound and you say like, oh, this is coming from behind. And it's like, oh, no, it's the soundtrack. They're going to hate me if I do. They don't want an immersive kind of environment. But imagine the budget has it, or maybe I offer it. I say, you know what? We do a 5.1 soundtrack version of it. I dream of that all day long, like this is my active daydreaming stuff. This is part of that, like having a project on which I can say, look, I'm going to do it on my own money. It doesn't matter. We do a 5.1 version or Atmos version of the soundtrack. But like I'm kind of like more 5.1 than Atmos. Can I be honest? I would be more 5.1 or binaural, okay, for example, and say like, and I give it to you extra and you release it with the game and you do kind of like a special edition version that you get $4 for the soundtrack and I get the revenue of it, Am I allowed to buy groceries through this stuff or not? Come on. This whole HiFAL thing has become a rant against the video game industry. This is not about the plugin. This is me fixing some grudge. I'm sorry, people. This is as true as it can get. Like I'm listening to this and I'm hearing like, what, why, how? Like I'm seriously kind of in a 1800 kind of oil painting or something. Definitely. So this is kind of the cheaper trick, but I kind of like what this is doing. I want to try and remodel this. Okay, we keep the left part fine. Let me try and get it as to where I said that I want to get the 3K, the brilliance area. Or in the case of my soundtrack, I'm going to give you another trick so that you know why this music was picked. The 6K, okay? 6K. Everybody hates, that got a bit of a dry throat today because I'm being ranting so much. So much grudge. I need a kind of, like a mint or something. So I want to tailor this to a high frequency part that makes sense to me and use this parallel injector as kind of like a brilliance pack reborn. Okay, let's try that. And I want to do it. There's a part here where I think it's going to be perfect. Okay, this. Have you heard how kind of obnoxious it is a little bit? That narrow part? Okay, now we try and inject it. And I'm going to go, to be honest with you, I'm going to just push it to 0. And then we turn it on and off, okay? Just I want to get shocked. I want to hear what this is doing. Especially on the quieter parts. Okay, obnoxious, but I mean, too much, okay? Too much. But it is making more sense now than being full spectrum to me. Whether we use it in that area or whether we shift it, it makes more sense. But man, obnoxious, okay? Okay, we know. Like, I don't want to have that this much because I also do a lot of clipping and it's really bringing up the clipping that I've done. Broken sound cards. That's what it is. So Mar says this plugin would have been cool as a stage in the new Ozone. Yeah. You know what? Like I use Ozone from time to time. I have a couple people I know that we tend to know we're gonna use Ozone on. The most I use RX a lot, and I use tonal balance control a ton because we get references that use that. Ozone is the one I use the least, but this has that principle of being abstract in a good way as Isotope does, but it still retains kind of an analog, open vibe. You know, it is not that. You have Ozone and never use it. A lot of people I know got Ozone for like deals and stuff, and they say like, why not? And then they don't use it. You know, I do use it with specific people, and then I tend to not use it for everything else. But I think Ozone is a brilliant pack. I have nothing against it. Like, man, there's so much good stuff in there. But I use RX and tonal balance control more. So these I like. Let's try and do the final part where we get the strings into their bones, okay? This could be, now, this is me being, egoistic. This is me being selfish in saying, I want to hear how the strings are going to do if we kind of like fry them up in a good way in the final part. So let me try that. Okay, that part. You heard that? Marco says, where would you use the plugin in mastering context before clipping and limiting or even earlier in the chain? This is a very good question, and I was thinking I really don't have a preconceived like, in my chain it's clearly gonna go there. I don't know. I'm thinking this could be. I'm hearing this later, but you know my mix bus, right? So I'm thinking I'm hearing this before, sort of like my ML4000, like end of mix A. This is very specific, but Marco knows because he's a veteran. You know, some people are gonna go like, what does he mean? End of mix A, beginning of mix B is where I'm thinking of it. Not early mix A. So we still go vari-mu, we still go compressor, we get things done, and I'm thinking we gold clip that, and then we get this, and then it's ML4000, NIB or 8000. Mar says, I use the BrainWorks stuff more. Yeah, there's also cool stuff there. Been using a lot of those as well. So, too many plugins, no time, man. If something doesn't work from the tools we have, it's really our fault, as in this case. BrainWorks and Waves. We're going to test the L4 as well, but not today. But I have a real L2, a hardware one, that I actually think, I don't want to jinx it, I had a problem with it. So let's try these. I'm liking these a lot. Let's inject these. And I kind of heard, have you heard how when I was staying at 0 dBs, the highs were more sparkling and pointy, and actually crunching them and re-injecting them gives me a better, less spiky parallel limiter. This is a very nice thing. It's not about the quantity, it's more about how they feel. So let me try this. This is good now. This is no longer cheap. Let's design a mid-side version, and then we run the whole thing through it. Now, without it, have you heard that passage there? All the fields and things that pop up, they are so organic to me that I am at the point where they risk being not what I want. So I would be more for unprocessed than processed. But I gotta be honest with you, it adds that, let's solo these, okay? So you hear what I'm doing with the parallel. This is really where it's at. Right? It's like a good band pass. It could be something a composer even uses to play with in a part, right? So we're no longer dealing with high frequencies. That's good. Let's try this part here. Let me hear what happens if we solo that part. Is it meaningful or not? I think so. It's the same key. Okay, I want to hear that the final hit, the one you don't expect, because I had a one and then I have a second one, kind of without and with. That is a hanger sound that was very important because it's like it's really the color of the scene. It's like, why wasn't this picked? So without. That I get so excited on my music with. Okay, I kind of like it without better. I like it better without. I think it has more movement, but man, it is more detailed. Like the second hit, it sounds better without. Let me see where the meters are because I wasn't looking. Well, to be honest with you, it kind of, if you don't know, it's okay. Let me link less, way less. Let's try 0. Okay, Mars agrees with me. It kind of loses that. Like if you hadn't heard it, you would say like, oh, it's really good, you know. But if you felt it, then you're like, no, wait. This is so organic and I don't hear it organic any longer. I think part of that is really this thing here. Let's try without. Let's stay here at 60, you know. Without. Yeah, okay. I can live with it this way, you know. I'm gonna do a thing now. Let's try and do this. We offset it even more and then we go down here. There we go. I'm kind of starting to understand how this thing works. Now, this you hear a lot in the movies. Because while they're doing this, there's gonna be like, you know, like, where are you? Are you here? I can find you. Like, okay, we're coming in. Wait for us or something. Oh, you know, the movie, right? And it's in the center of your life, right there, okay? So we shift the energy for the music tension to the external part, right? And this does that just because we are punching the mid side. Oh, it was left, right. Oh, look at that. I made a mistake here. It's left, right. So it is kind of shifting differently. Let me try that again. I thought I was in mid side. This really works. Man, this is insane, okay? I did this thinking I was doing the mid, but it's bringing that part there where the reverb is going for the second hit, where this is kind of advanced and unexpected. And it's opening kind of a door to the left side. Let's try that again. Without. From here, sorry. Right? So you keep hearing that on the left, and now I am taming just that part by complete accident. Let's hear that. Okay, unwanted, but we did that, and it works. Because in that specific time when we were analyzing that hanger hit, there's high frequencies here. So it's left, right. Okay, it worked. But now let me try it in mid side. Okay, well, I like it better in left, right for this specific. Let me try and dump it down here. It's low. Still good. Like, we're exploring maybe 10 types of taste-based stuff, you know, up to the point where you would get like, what do I do? And I think what I did at the beginning is safe. Like a little bit, don't treat me that much, and surprisingly constant on that in minimum phase. Wow. Beautiful. So you say, you like how they design the interface? You can see the frequency band along the top. Yes, like the top really tells you where the distribution is in the spectrum. And the meters, I said at the beginning, just as a reminder, I think it's good to say, the meters are showing you the energy, like the peak levels of the area you selected. So these are not the meters for the whole track, okay? Because they are at the left, some people might think this is like the audio that is coming through. But it's not true. That's what I want to say. It's not the audio that is coming through. It's the left, right, or mid-side level against the threshold of your area of operation here, of your bandwidth, okay? So if we reduce these drastically, we're going to see that the meters drop. That's why you can kind of rescale them. Let's try that. And now it's 10 hertz. So it's full scale, okay? And you heard it, it's kind of like a compressor. And there, it's kind of like boring. And also, it's kind of getting abused. This is way too much. So we're gonna do, what is it, minus 24, minus 25. And this was kind of good. Left, right, 1 dB difference, because I'm having some of the dark reverbs to the left from sounds that are to the right. I do that a lot. Crisscross the reverbs against the sources. And it just so happens to have those high frequency sparkles on top of the tail of a reverb of all of those subs. So this is kind of good. Then it's skewing it. I'm thinking this is nice. This is good. Let's do another pass, just resetting things around. I'm gonna do a B setting. Let's try that. Like, let's work on this area here. Okay, this also works as a closing factor, but I think this is kind of like the most, I wouldn't say boring, but this is like a maximizer for a mix, okay? This sounded to me like, let's do a mix enhancer kind of thing. It doesn't even sound like I'm doing high frequency limiting, accelerated, whatever. It just sounds like take the mix, make it more, okay? And it kind of did that because we brought that part, we tamed it, and then we readapted it. We went very light so that the kicks would still go. And I hear the low frequencies kind of readjust themselves in the mix. Just, you know, that's nice. Then we injected it. We just brought the level there. It's louder. But I think it's a good thing to close the stream with, just to show you that it is also... first test, you know, I never opened it till today. It can be used just as like, you know, make it better, just go all out, give me a little bit more detail and stuff. But the real value of this is what I did at the beginning. Like, and now I'm kind of getting where it is in terms of how it's working. And yeah, like, I wouldn't say this you can use other plugins with other stuff, but I think the best value of where you might think, oh, okay, I don't have something that does that exactly with this feather touch. For the stereo field, it was the very, very feathery approach that I did. In my specific case, if I were to use the parallel, I would go 1.6 to 3-4 kilohertz just to get the meat of, you know, the thing, just to sustain. But then again, this is a no mix bus print, okay? So these settings kind of lend themselves to say, we got no mix bus in this print. So I have room to kind of punch it. And I can hear it's starting maybe to pump a little bit, and it's giving me that it's overproduced kind of vibe, which is understandable. You know, it still does it in a very kind of clean, sort of like Masalek-y way. But it's falling into a realm where other plugins can do that, you know, differently or better, or just we're going away from its specific gem kind of like approach. I think at the beginning it really shined in saying, you know, a little goes a long way. So yeah, Mar says it does something other plugins strive for, and it's a good thing. That's true. That's true. And it, we pushed it. It didn't break. It wasn't, you know, just sounding harsh. It can really get in, work it out, get out very fast. It feels coherent. What I like the most is that the way I kind of, you know, tamed the things, it just gave me that IMAX approach. Now, then we brought it to really be IMAX, and it was too much. Which is probably where I put the parallel limiter in. It became kind of like, okay, let's go, you know. But before that, it was like movie stuff. Almost something you could feel like you keep on all the time, and it's just a better izer for your music, but it is really tuned to the thing. But I think the 2.6 here, going here, then we kept, what is it? This one. 2.6, no low pass, and then 1.6 to 2.9. Then we went here, we went 24. Here, where were we? Here. 24. And 23 in mid-side mode, fast, slow, 60%, 0.4 in my case, jam. High oversampling, minimum phase, I haven't moved it. You're gonna hate me for that. Like, how does it sound in linear phase? Try that out. It's 30 days demo if you wanna try that. But I like that. I like this. I think the oversampling is important because we're working with very high frequencies. But the phase is actually where it's giving it that cinematic thing, probably. It's a little bit more of depth and detachment. I like that. So this is it. Easy peasy. That worked. All right. So I'm just going to leave you at the demo for it and keep on making more music that doesn't get licensed, or maybe does, and, you know, keep struggling. But that's true. Mar says, like Flux Immersive Plugins, which is a brand and a set of plugins I absolutely love. Like Alchemist, nothing touches that. If you need something like what Alchemist does, it's Alchemist. And I've done masterclasses in real life with Flux because Flux is amazing. They say, please don't do anything cheap. We don't want you to do influencer stuff because we don't care. We know our stuff is good. And I was like, yeah. And Syrah, absolutely. 100%. Like, you wouldn't even know. These are the two plugins. If you go Flux, these are the two of them. I like all of the compressors, decompressors, all of them. Even the limiter I've used a lot. And also Bittersweet, the free stereo tool. Use it so much for tests and masterclasses. But man, Syrah and Alchemist are unbelievable. I think for dynamics, Flux Audio really has, they can do time domain in a way that other plugins really struggle with. I don't know how they do it. I've told them in their face, like, you have something in the time domain that other plugins just cannot touch, right? And the reverb is pretty good too. Yeah, absolutely. I've done some sort of like installations and things for art where I use the reverb. The earcom, love that as well. Absolutely. So people, I'm gonna close it here. This was Schwabe Digital HiFAL. High frequency, accelerated limiting, but we took it through its paces. We took it through its paces. That's what I wanted to say. And it shines. It's a good plugin. I think it's a great thing to just use very sparingly, the way actually the analog was meant for. But you can also push it. It doesn't break. You can use it as an enhancer. It works. It feels more cheap than just going very feather touch. Personally, I liked it better in the first tests, but it's solid. And I'm thinking this has a room for it. I see why Ryan wanted to do it. So thank you, Ryan, for doing that. And that's it. I'm going to leave you at whatever you're doing. We're going to see each other soon in the next stream. Remember, you have the links there. If you like what you see, you find these useful, check my Patreon out. It really, really helps me. All right? Thank you, people, for being here. I'm going to send the titles. This was the Thursday Mixdown, episode 15. Can you believe it, crew? You were here. We did 15 episodes already. Thank you. See you soon. Ciao. And it didn't work. Computer, send and manually. Roger that.